Okay, I'd like to welcome Dr. Heather Williams to the Association for Welsh Writing in English's 2015 conference. And the first thing to do is congratulate you on winning the Emwyn Thomas Essay Prize for this year.
Thank you very much.
Could you tell us a little bit about what your essay covered?
Yes, it was about Iolo Morgannwg, who's a fascinating, quite colourful figure, remembered more for having invented the Eisteddfod and the Gorsedd and things like this, rather than for his texts, perhaps. It may come as a surprise to some people who know him by reputation that an awful lot of his texts, perhaps the majority, are written in English. And one of the things I do in the article, I hope, is encourage more people to see him as an early example of Welsh writing in English.
Fantastic. And a lot of people might know of him as the inventor of certain apparently ancient traditions,
Yes.
but you're interested in locating him as a literary producer, isn't it?
Yes, and well, more specifically than that, I used my long-standing interest in translation studies, which comes out of years of looking at various cultural interfaces. Initially, I worked on Breton and French in the Brittany context, and I brought that knowledge, if you like, to look at the relationship between English and Welsh in this one text, Poems, Lyric and Pastoral, where the text is written in English, but it's a very odd kind of English.
Oh,
that's one of the things that I say, that I try to explain in the article.
What makes it so odd?
It's the way in which he makes the whole, the authenticity of the text rely on its Welshness and on the Welsh language, but the text isn't written in Welsh. So I find that paradox fascinating, and that's what I tried to unpack by bringing the framework of translation studies.
So does that tell us something about his intended audience?
Oh, certainly, yes. And I think he deliberately intends the text to be speaking only to bilingual people, only to bilingual readers, that he's consciously speaking to them above the English-only readers.
Oh, fascinating. This kind of translation studies approach hasn't really appeared in Welsh writing and English scholarship very often, as far as I can see looking back. Where will this lead you and the field?
Well, actually, I've moved on to a slightly different field, but staying with cultural interfaces and drawing on translation studies, still looking at French texts about Wales within the context of a broader project on European travellers to Wales.
Fascinating, absolutely fascinating. I have to say, I was one of the judges for the prize this year, and the entry was astonishingly high across the board, but yours stood out as changing the way we see not just one person, but the whole field. And I'm hoping that lots of people will pick up on your work and take it into interesting new places. So thank you very much, and congratulations for the prize this year.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully we'll see you again.
Thank you very much. I hope so too.